All right. Hello, and welcome to the SoulShape Podcast, where we focus on your spiritual fitness and what we like to call our energetic self-care. We're sisters, and we are the co-founders of SoulShape, a quantum wellness app designed to make it easier and accessible to find healing practitioners in the energy healing world. We want to have soulful conversations about spirituality and wellness, and whether you're dabbling or taking a deep dive into energy healing, we want to introduce modalities and healing practitioners to you one by one, from oracles to life coaches to intuitive guides to Reiki masters. We want to cover it all. So it's time to get into SoulShape. My name is LJ Woodard, and this is my sister, Leslie Bennett. Leslie, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to be talking with Jen Carter, and we're going to be talking about what is our relationship to ourself.
Relationship to ourself. Well, let me do a quick little intro of you, Jen, before we get rolling, so everyone knows, who is Jen Carter? Who is this lovely woman? Well, she's a mom. Oh my God, this sounds like the dating game. This is kind of fun. Okay, she's a mom, a wife, and a studier of life, and she finds awe in sunsets, authentic conversations, and the simple pleasures of a backyard tree swing. I like that too.
I'm already there.
I'm there. I'm like,
Let's just take a moment and go swing on that swing.
The swing is only mine.
But, okay, we interrupt.
So her journey of self-exploration led to her coaching, where she discovered her gift for creating safe and non-judgmental spaces for individuals to move beyond the habits, thoughts, and repetitive patterns that are preventing them from fully enjoying the life they live and the people they love. Wow, Jen. So tell us about what led you to becoming a life coach. I mean, what's the journey? Tell us about that.
The journey. Well, funny enough, a few weekends ago, I just went back to where it all began for me, which was the Art of Living Retreat Center in Boone. So I kind of got to this place where I was extremely lost, and I wasn't quite sure what was missing. And now, with the work I've done since, I realized what was missing was me. Not knowing myself and having faith in myself and really befriending myself. And so I was in this place where I was just really lost, and I kept trying all of the things I'd ever tried before, and nothing was helping me put it together. And I ended up getting really into meditation and yoga, which was helping. And there was still a piece I just couldn't figure out. And so, funny enough, a friend of mine sent me this link, and she said, why don't you check out mindfulness? And I said, okay, I don't know what mindfulness is. I'd just gotten into meditation. And so she sent me this link for Duke Integrative Medicine's mindfulness-based stress reduction course. And when she sent me the link, she sent me the wrong one. And she sent me to their general website, but to the link of their certified integrative health coaching course. And I had no idea what this was.
So the wrong one led you to...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
That's
something I didn't even know existed.
There are no accidents.
There are no accidents. It all lines up, right? And so I read through this description, and previously I had been a pediatric physical therapist, so I had background in medicine. But I always said my dream job would be taking girlfriends to coffee and helping them with their lives, not thinking that was an actual thing. And so when I read this website, I was like, for some reason, this is all lining up for me, and I don't know what it's about, but I feel like I need to do it. So my husband and I spoke, and he said, if you go and you don't ever coach a single person, and it helps you figure out something about yourself, it's totally worth it. So that's what I did.
What a lovely guy.
Wow.
What a nice
Right?
partner.
Nice.
Let's recognize that, because sometimes
Yes.
we have really good partners in life.
Yes.
So let's
Yeah, so
honor
he
that.
definitely gets kudos for that.
yeah, okay. So kudos.
Yeah. Go, babe. And
Mysticata. Is it Mysticata?
Oh, Laura.
I had to.
Right, Rob? That was appropriate. Is
Yeah.
that bad?
Mr. Kata. Okay, anyway.
Mr. Kata.
He's
yes.
got his kudos. Keep going.
So he has
Jen.
his kudos. So I went, and by the time I was done, I had a woman walk up to me about 2 weeks before I was done in my daughter's dance studio and say, I hear you're becoming a life coach. And I said, well, yeah. And she said, I need you. And I'm like, well, I don't know you. I don't know anything. And she and I had some very similar circumstances. And so I said, well, hey, sure. Why don't you come and we'll coach? And I'm just trying it out because I've never done this before. And she was my very first client. And it was just this beautiful growth for both of us. And that kind of started my entire journey.
I love those first client moments or those first, it's so great. it helps. It's a win-win. That's why
It's
I like
actually
it.
a validation that you made the right choice and that it wasn't an accident. It was divine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I want to go back to, that piece that was missing because it resonated with me. Because I know, when I lost my husband, I thought I was just in grief. And what really is that because of our loving relationship was super strong, it masked so many things that I had self-neglected about me.
Yeah.
Whether it's self-love, self-worth, self-anything.
Yeah.
So there's a question here, and I don't know where I was going with this other than to share my life.
Yeah.
So I guess going into that, I know what I was. It was, we talked about yesterday, the issue isn't always the issue. And so when someone comes to you thinking that, I'm with grief, but really it's I don't have a relationship with myself because I was in a relationship with my love partner and we used to say in our house, we have so much love in this house, we're surprised there's a roof over it.
Aww.
We would say that to each other every day. And we become very different variations of it. Like there's so much love in this house, it's going to blow up, or something. We'd always have some variations.
Beautiful.
So when he was gone, it's as if the house deflated. Yeah. And then Leslie didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
So you said yesterday, and it just resonated with me that, people come to you, but they don't realize that really what they're coming for is that relationship to self. So talk more about that. And I'm sorry that was a long-winded question. I'm known for that now. So
That's why it's a podcast, people.
all right. So Jenna, I'll shut up now.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think we are so used to looking outside of ourselves, and we're really trained that way from very young.
Yeah.
And so
I think it's a woman thing, too.
I think it's a woman thing, but honestly, when I first started coaching, I coached only women, and now I coach women and men.
That's awesome.
And so now I'm saying, no, it's not just a woman thing.
Yeah.
I think men get tied up in other things.
That's good to hear.
But they're still
I'm
external.
sorry for them, but that's good to hear.
Yeah.
It is all external. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about it, we've been external since the beginning, and I've talked about this with other friends. We've been external from the beginning of our lives. You had to, you had to get good grades. Good grades are, prove that you're smart. Then you have to go through college. You have to get married. You have to do this. It's all programming. So anyway, I keep talking.
I know.
Jen,
Okay, I'm going to cut you off.
thank you.
So we're trained that it's all external, and we're trained to take care of other people, right? We're trained to develop all of these external things. I know in my life, I don't know about you all, but I was never trained how to develop me, how to be okay with myself, how to look at things that we see as flaws and see actually the flip side of it. I always say your gifts and your challenges are two sides of the same coin, right? It's if you can flip it over, you're like, oh, wait, this thing about me that I have felt so bad about for so long is actually a huge gift, right? So for myself, I am this extremely deep person. I say, I live down here. And I thought that was bad because I have a mom and a brother who are extremely social. You could put them in any environment and they're good. And I say, don't invite me to a cocktail party, but you want to talk about the real stuff over coffee. I am your girl all day long, right? And so I always felt really bad for that. And now I realize that's how I get to be the coach I am, right? That's how I get to help people at the level I'm able to help them is because of my depth. So it's being able to look at those things that you've given yourself such a hard time about for so long. And usually we are very ugly in our heads about it. And being able to see it in a completely different light.
So it's really embracing, it's not even a fault. Why would it's not a fault at all.
Yeah, it's embracing who you are.
Yeah.
It's learning a new tool is kind of how I see it. And I'm surprised if I move here, you and I need to be friends because I'm the deep thinker and this is the social one, right?
Trying to get my sister to move here.
We could go places that will blow people's minds. But anyway, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
When she moves here.
Yeah.
But now you take me off that a lot. Stop it. Anyway, I think, too, in regards to that tool, no one taught you or no one teaches you that it's okay to love yourself, because we call it egotistical, vanity, right?
Yeah, self-centered.
And so that's a program that you have to get over, like, it's okay. And it's not surface stuff. We were talking before we went on air, self-care isn't just getting a massage.
Right.
It's how you talk to yourself, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So tell me more about that.
Yeah. So a lot of people coin self-care as this thing of, I went on a date, I got a massage, I got a pedicure. And those can absolutely be self-care things.
For sure.
But self-care is more how you view yourself and how you treat yourself, how you run your life, putting yourself in. So I would say, like, it's not you only, it's you also. So it's not this self-centered thing of it's me and no one else. It's, if I really have love and compassion for myself, then I have that ability to give it more authentically to other people, right? So it actually, like, really spans out. It's like this ripple effect. But it's interesting that people don't really consider self-care to be how do you think? How do you talk to yourself?
How do you feel about yourself?
How do you feel? Do you recognize, in this moment I'm overwhelmed, it's okay for me to take a few minutes and breathe? Close my eyes and breathe, right? That's self-care.
Yeah.
Self-care can be a moment. It can be 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be something extravagant.
Like going to Costa Rica for a retreat.
Right. Now, granted, I do those things sometimes, right?
Me too.
And they're amazing. But it's more about what you carry over in your day to day. And so a lot of the work I do is really helping people recognize those little places where they can start to make really small shifts. I always say, like, everything we do has to be small and doable. If we talk about it and you feel a little cringy or like, oh, I don't think I can do that, we don't do it. We back it down to what feels small and doable, right? Because with the wiring of your brain, your brain can only lay down so much neuronal fiber a day. Therefore, it can only change so much. Your patterns can only change so much. You have to create, it's like building a whole new road, right? And so you have to start with what's small and doable and build upon it to really get something that stays.
It makes it accessible. And I always say that the ease of that then gets the expansion.
Yes.
And then gets the enjoyment.
Yes.
That's a triple win.
Yeah.
Look, my sister's looking
I'm
at
looking
me.
at her because, like, she got our, like, corporate branding, our corporate mission into this conversation.
We can
like,
talk
she
about
did
the
that-
business for a
you
minute.
did that so artfully.
Well, we are the Sisters of SoulShape, and what Jen is on our app, and you can find her on SoulShape and, book her for a session to get some life coaching. And
So what's a small, easy thing that to get people started? Like, if I didn't love myself, is there a tool or technique that you get them over that hump of, like, the little cringies?
that self-confidence, that
Yeah,
self-esteem.
What's so hard is
Or a program,
everyone is completely different.
Yeah, of course.
Your brain's wired completely differently. So I don't tend to do advice because I truly know from the clients I work with and from my training and from myself, what works for you is not what works for me.
Yeah.
And if I try to put my solution on you, it's not going to help you and it's probably going to make it worse. But within you, you have the answers. So it's really about guiding you to find them.
Yeah.
Right? But I would say an end to self-love is self-care, is finding one little spot in your day, in your routine, where you can take a few moments for yourself. Whether it's, I feel like transition times are great. I use the car a lot when I'm dropping off my child to school, when I'm pulling into work, when I pull into my driveway. Just taking a few moments when I might be scrolling social media and put on some music that I love and sing, or breathe, or call my very best girlfriend, or something that is for me to help me reset and find some joy. And I feel like self-care is really the best in for that.
Self-love, self-care. I think, loving yourself is probably the gateway to spirituality. I mean, think about it. If that's the core of it,
Well, that's a little pearl.
well, just in all the conversations that we've had,
Yeah.
it's like we talked to some different practitioners today and a lot of cool people, and I just feel like it's like, yeah, loving yourself, self-love. That's spirituality equals. I think that's, or like I said, the launching, the gateway.
Yeah. It's really the connection. For me, it's the connection to yourself and therefore to everything and everyone else.
And then you said, I love how you said that, like, when you're taking care of yourself, it's not, like we were saying, we're taught that that's the selfish or like, it's vain. And it's like that egotistical type thing.
Yeah.
Especially, it doesn't matter if you're a mom or not, but when you're taking care of yourself, it allows you to take better care of everyone else too. So, that's a key thing. And I learned that. It takes you a while when you have to, because babies are a lot. And once you have the babies and like when you realize you haven't slept and all that stuff, you're like, oh my gosh, I better like really take care of myself if I'm going to like raise a human being. So, you learn that pretty quick.
You do. There's still people that don't quite pick up on it.
Yeah, well, it's still a struggle.
We all have, and it's hard.
It's not the easiest thing,
It's hard. It's not like we were taught when we were young. You were taught to say please and thank you and excuse me and I'm sorry to everyone else, right? You weren't taught to say any of those things to yourself. To recognize, oh, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angry, whatever, that's okay. I'm allowed to feel that way. Like, we weren't taught any of those inner skills. And so a lot of people who come to me will be like, I don't even know how to do this.
Like, where do you
I'll ask them what's getting in the way, and they're like, oh, it's just me. I'm like, okay, well, that's great. That's where we start, right? Like, that's the whole work anyway. But they don't know how to do any of this self stuff. And I tell them, I'm like, if you were going to go to a foreign country and speak a language you've never learned, how would you do that? They're like, well, I couldn't. I'd have to, get lessons and learn it and be there for a while. I'm like, yeah. So why would you be able to speak and understand how to give yourself love and care and compassion and trust yourself if you've never learned it? So it's just a new language that you're learning. It can totally be learned.
I like that.
I'm sitting here because I'm not a parent, but I'm also sitting here thinking about all the selves. And I think one of the hardest that was for me was self-forgiveness. Right? On many different levels, right? Because you can forgive yourself for an act, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
I don't want to get specific. But you can also forgive yourself for feeling a certain way about an act, too. And sometimes that self-forgiveness is a bit of an onion because it's not the thing that's happened to you, but even how you talk to yourself and forgiving yourself for being so hard on yourself. So, like, if I didn't have an awesome podcast, right, and totally blew it, or on the drive home tonight, thinking about, oh, I should have asked this most amazing question, and I start tormenting myself, and I know I won't be doing that, but
because we know not to.
But I'm just using it as an example because it could resonate. Yeah. But forgiving myself for even thinking that way, because I should love my way out of that too, right? Sort of. And sometimes we can kind of use that self-love card and not necessarily do the self-forgiveness or self-worth work.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah. Well, it's all a journey. It's all an evolution, right? And so different pieces will come into play at different points in time. It's not like you can say, okay, so first you hit self-care, and then you hit this, and then you hit self-love, and then you hit self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's
Nothing's
not like
linear.
that, right? It's not like a flow chart.
If only.
And we don't know. Like, I always say, like, I could not predict what's going to come up for my clients.
Yeah, it's not linear. It's
and
just,
how it goes, right? And you might work on self-forgiveness in one realm, and then some other realm comes up, and you're like, oh, nope, haven't done that. I know for myself, I've just gotten really comfortable with doing the journey, with knowing that there is absolutely no destination. I'm going to be learning about myself and figuring stuff out as long as I'm here, right? And so when something comes up, it's like, oh, okay, that's what's next.
Yeah.
Right? And so getting comfortable with the fact of, I figured out the other stuff.
Yeah.
I've worked through it. I can work through this too. It'll be okay, right? But I think if you're paying attention, the path is very twisty.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot of different things, and I don't know where this came from, or I would give it credit, but as we go into this sort of state of mastery, if you will, you can be done with the lessons, but you're never done with learning. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we can be open to what we're observing
Mm-hmm.
and then work from there,
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hearing, and that's why I'm reflecting back to you is how you
Yeah.
work, so it's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Well, I will say, I don't know if I would ever think I'm in mastery, because as soon as I start to feel that, I get tested.
I don't know. Don't you? There's got to be moments though where you
There
all of a
are-
sudden
there
feel
are
like a
moments
Jedi.
that I'm like, yes, this is
I
awesome.
teach kids, and there's some moments where I'm like, I am a Jedi
Yes.
master right now. I am literally
Yes.
working this room, and these kids are listening to me, and I know what I'm doing. I mean, I truly feel like a
Yes.
Jedi. And then
Yeah.
the next day, it's like, oh well, nobody's
Yeah.
listening to me, and like whatever.
Right.
What did your mom feed you before you came here?
Yeah.
It's not my
Absolutely.
fault. But I think it's. Yeah, like you were saying, like there's not all this like linear thing, one thing after the next. It's like we're all pieces of like artwork. If someone was to paint something, you just don't even know like how you're going to paint it. It just kind of unfolds, and you're probably
Yes.
figuring out things with them along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things just pop up. I mean, Leslie and I have conversations all the time, and like about the work, the SoulShape app, www.soulshape. No, I'm kidding. But about the app, about work, and then we'll talk about a story or about something, or it becomes personal.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm like crying. She's like, "Audrey, do we need to stop and unfold something? Is this like bringing up
Yes.
something?" And
Yes.
like I guess we do. And so I
Yes.
guess that's in conversations that you're always going to find with your clients.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things I wanted to ask you too. It's like, what's the difference when someone has, whether it be like spiritual life coach, intuitive life coach, or just a cool life coach, or whatever it be, whatever adjective you want to put on it, energetic life coach. What's the difference between having a life coach and a friend having coffee?
Yes.
What's the big why should they get a life coach versus just calling up your friend and let's go have some coffee and vent or whatever?
Yeah. Well, so it's funny because my best friend is actually training to be a life coach right now. And she's just one of the wisest people I know and has owned a yoga studio for 20 years. And so I encouraged her. I was like, you do this work already. But it's funny because we have conversations and we can be friends with one another. We might throw out a coachy question or so, but we always say, like, we can't fully put our coach hat on with each other, right? There's something different. There's even something different for me between emailing with a client and having a session with a client. There's something that shifts, and I'm able to show up in a different way than I can when I'm a friend, right? So as a friend, I am in the conversation. When you say something, I'm considering, oh, how is that for me? How can I relate that, right?
Now let's talk about mastery. Oh, I'm not a master.
And we absolutely can master things in the moment, like LJ said. I just know for myself, once I get to like, oh, I've got this, I get tested. Yeah. Especially if it comes to something with my kids. I'm like, ooh, I've got this down. My kids are 15 and 20, and I'm like, I've got it. We're good.
I love that. Masters of the moment.
Masters of the moment, right? And we need to recognize that in ourselves. Like, I will leave a session and be like, wow, that was I was a really great coach in that session. Or I was a really amazing coach today. I really help people, right?
Right.
Yeah, like absolutely recognizing that. But I try to stay away from the like, okay, and so I've got it. Yeah. Because I just feel like I always get tested from it. And what were we talking about before?
I totally missed it. I was talking about the difference between like having a friend, a friendly chat versus a life coach.
Absolutely.
I derailed you.
So no, you're good.
No, I'm the derailer.
Yeah, and so coaching.
I just raised my hand. Okay.
Coaching is such an interesting thing because we are not a regulated profession. So you can have anyone hang their hat and say they're a coach, and they don't have to have training. They can say they're a certified coach and they've done an online course for 2 days. So it's a whole span. And so that's tricky, right? And we all have different titles. When people call me their life coach, I'm not technically a life coach.
A wellness coach?
I am a certified integrative health coach. And that means I am certified to coach all realms of your life. One of those being personal growth. And that's just happens to be where my talent lies. And so my clients started calling me their life coach. And I'm like, I guess that's what I go by,
the
right?
Labels.
So it's tricky. The labels are all tricky.
Yeah.
Really, when you're finding a coach, it's about feeling it out and feeling who can relate to you the best, right? It's like going on a date.
It is like going on a date.
It's very much like going on a date, right? So find somebody like you really jive with them, their story, their training, their outlook, how it feels to you, right? And I think that's why there's so many different labels for it. At the core, we're all working with the person, right? Just maybe with a little bit different twist. But having coffee with a girlfriend versus coaching,
you answered it. It's
different.
So different.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's very different. When I sit with a client in my office or even on Zoom now, right, since COVID, I am there as a guide. I am not there as Jen, right? And things might come up from my life where I relate, but it's never about me and my journey. It's always about them and being able to really step outside of myself so that I don't get in their way, right? So I can really pick up on what they're bringing and throw out some things they might not have thought of before.
Perspectives.
Change their perspective, change their viewpoint, right? And I wish I could show up like that outside of coaching, outside of that realm, but it's just not quite the same.
I also envision, if you guys just sit with someone like you, I'm like, you don't sit down and go, okay, what are your goals or it's not that kind of thing. I think that's, I'm just saying that because I think that's a listener.
Very old school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think
on a date, you would kind of go, hey, what's your job? What are you doing?
Right.
What's your plan for life?
I think that some listeners would be like, is that what is a typical, what's that intro thing? What's that expectation? That's not what I would assume. Okay, here's your goals. We're going to meet these and yada, yada, yada.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting because, like I said, there's such a range of coaches. There are coaches that are very goal-oriented, right? And we'll say, okay, what are your goals? And let's make SMART goals and all that.
I want to make
right?
$1 million in
I like
6
goals.
months.
Don't get me wrong.
And that's
I like
great,
goals.
Right? That's not really my realm. In an intro session, and I do these all the time, right? They're 45-minute sessions. They're free sessions. And it's just to get people to see what coaching is like and see if it jives with them and if it's what is going to be helpful for them in that moment. But I tap into a lot more about thoughts, beliefs, and the emotions tied to them, right? So if we talk about in an intro session, where do you want to be? Spin yourself off into the future as far as you want to go. 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever feels comfortable to you, right? And I'll kind of talk them through a visualization so they can start to feel that. And people will start to go, okay, so I'll be here and doing this. And I'm like, no, stop. How's it feel? What's it feel like, right? Because how it looks from the outside will likely be different than how it turns out, right?
And the minute you feel it,
how
it becomes a reality.
Feels, right? Because there's a lot of things that can take you to that feeling. It's not, I need to get this specific job and live in this city and be married and have this many kids and this kind of house. It's the feeling, what do you really want in life? What's important to you about it, right? And a lot of times people we don't sit down and think of those things.
Yeah, what's important to you?
Yeah, what's important to you about
question.
this? Yeah. And it's interesting because people also have the take of, is coaching like therapy? And I would say, you can bring anything to me you can bring to a therapist. I am not trained as a therapist. I'm trained as a physical therapist, but not a mental health therapist, right? I don't have the training to look at it through their lens, which means I look at it through a coaching lens. So anything from the past is, how's that playing out for you now? What's important? What's affecting you? How do we work through that so you move forward? So coaching is very much where you are moving forward. So it's insight and forward movement, insight and forward movement.
Leslie, when I first met Jen, it was some community event we were at, and she just did this quick little, and it had to be quick because it was kind of trade show-ish event type thing. But for example, she was just okay, well, let's talk real quick in your work. What's one thing you'd want in your work right now? What's that one thing? And I would say, God, I just want ease. Just ease. Because as I was hitting a lot of blocks, techie stuff, because, it is an app and we have to deal with lots of wonky things and you're fixing things and repairing things. And then it's it's working and things are awesome. But there's lots of these hurdles and I say ease. And she's like, okay, then what would help you get that ease? And I mentioned some things, and she's like, okay, now how does that feel? I'm like, wow, I just feel immediately better. Like immediately. It was a feeling like, oh my gosh, all I have to do is that. It's just like, you're so fixated on like, oh God, they're not answering me. It's not working. The computer, I'm getting that circular rainbow thing, whatever. It's just like, I'm getting so frustrated. But it was just so simple. It was like the simplest little thing.
Yeah.
I was like, and that just is a reminder, as someone is even as positive as I am, but like, gosh, that's all it is. Just think about what you want something, how to get it, and then just remember how that feeling is once you get it, and then you're golden. I love that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And I try to live by that and practice that all the time. And Leslie reminds me too. When I get we have moments. So I mean, we're not all super.
Everyone has
Power-ish.
moments. Like, how would we ever learn and grow if we didn't have moments?
Yeah.
Those moments
Right?
are teaching opportunities.
Absolutely.
Opportunity to course correct, right?
Yeah, yeah. And moments to get to know yourself better, right?
Yeah. To know your triggers, to know your
Yeah.
joys, to know your, what trips you up,
And to work through it.
Yeah.
So that next time it comes up, because our stuff always keeps coming up, right?
Yep.
But you're not at the same spot.
Or you're not stressed out about it or having angst about it or whatever it may be. You just, okay, I've been here before. Okay, how do I handle this? And it's pretty powerful.
Bring out Sunshine Sally. Is that what?
Sunshine Sally?
Sunshine Sally.
I was saying in another episode that, my Sunshine Sally moments, it's like, hey, don't worry, it's all going to be great. It's not raining. The raining's going to, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It's just like, we make it work. And I try to not do it in an annoying way, but it's kind of, it helps me get through the day or events and things that we do. So, Jen.
Yes.
As we are coming to our closure here, we have talked, we basically wanted to just really touch upon, focus on the whole self-care, self-love, getting reacquainted with yourself. And it sounds like it's one of the key things about why even go any further with is there anything else that other people come to you for besides, of course they're going to find the self-care part. That's going to come out.
Yeah.
What do you find is one of the most, what seems to be the biggest, I don't know, what do people come to you for the most?
Oh, honestly, it's so across the board.
It is.
People will come to me because they want a career change, because they have had some big transition in their life, whether they've lost a loved one, whether they've gotten sick, whether they've retired.
Empty nesters.
Empty nesters. You have people come for all different kinds of reasons, a lot of relationship things. And so we will work on that, but we always do it through the self.
Is it mostly singular or do you do groups?
I do occasionally do some groups, and I do some fun workshops. This year, starting in January, I was like, you know what? I need to have more fun. And so I started pairing with different women in the community that offer different great fun activities. So one of them is pottery with Ann McCombie from CAM. One of them is kayaking, a kayaking retreat with Kaylin Hernandez from Wilmington Outdoor Adventures. And so it's really cool to pair that together. So I do some of the coaching, and we kayak, or we build pottery, or whatever. And so
brilliant.
It's give and
I
take.
love it.
It's been really great for me, for them, for our participants. But most of my work is one-on-one. That's really where I shine the best, I think. But I am getting this just growing thought of really wanting more and more women to be able to exist in authentic community. And so that's where these workshops come in, is that a lot of times we don't have deeper conversations and authentic conversations with people. We find out, where they live, where they work, if they're married, if they have kids, what their job is.
Their status is.
All of that, right? But we don't have the
labels
real
again.
things.
Yeah.
And so it's really beautiful to join people together with the intention of building community, and for them to walk out of it, whether it's like 3 hours or 2 days, and they're like, I feel like I really connected to these people, right? And I just think if we can do that more in the world, it makes everything better.
I felt that way after that event we went to. I was like, I left going, yeah, my gosh, this is amazing. I feel great. Yes, I can't wait to share with Leslie. I just met this great practitioner. It's like, oh, this is so, meeting people that you would never meet before. So, because you're in your own circles of your families and your social circles, and that felt really good and supportive. Yeah, and that was awesome.
I think it's time for our stretch.
Leslie, please explain
the stretch.
The stretch. The soul stretch.
The soul stretch.
Ooh, awesome. I can't wait.
I'm ready.
So the soul stretch is something where we've, through this conversation or even something that's led to a shift in a belief. So a stretch is where you've changed your belief. You've opened your mind. You've shifted something. So we call it the soul stretch.
Okay, I love
and
that.
so I'm going to start because I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget it. You said something, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
That's
probably
okay.
should have warned you before we started the podcast.
I get put on the
that we're
spot
doing.
every day by clients.
So
it's all good.
we figured you could wing it, So I like the idea of being able to relate, to illustrate, and then connect, which is
okay.
I put together 3 different things that you've said.
Okay.
So that's my stretch, that, we can relate through our own things in order to illustrate or even mirror things. So that's my stretch. Laura?
Well, people would come to you and start sharing with you, let's say, their faults, but you find out that your faults are really your strengths because you learn from them. So there you go. It's that easy, people.
All right, Jen, you're on the spot.
I'm on the spot for my stretch.
Where's your soul stretch from this conversation?
From this conversation.
And you can say nothing if there's nothing.
No,
that you like LJ and Leslie.
Something.
That's all.
I mean,
like,
y'all are amazing.
We're trying to
y'all are
give,
amazing. This is fun.
We're trying to give you some time to think about it.
like the
Right?
sisters.
Thank you.
Right.
Now you know how Miss Americas feel. Those poor girls. See how hard that question
Right?
is?
Right?
World peace.
My soul stretch. I think it would be
I could be outside this conversation.
doing
if that's
something that is a little vulnerable for me.
Yeah.
Right?
easier.
Yeah.
That's always
Being on
good.
the spot on camera with a microphone in front of me, like this is a new thing for me.
Yeah.
And
Thrown questions.
And
Yes.
Signal Fire Media, hello, shout out Rob, our producer here. I mean, that's
Yes.
the whole thing about this medium is that it's all about being authentic and real. And we can
Yes.
have messy hair and not be, it's just so great that it's just a whole different era. And that's what I like, that we can just be ourselves. And so
yeah.
here are some closing words as we wrap up our episode here at the SoulShape Podcast. I want to say thank you, first of all, Jen Carter. Thank you so much. Thank you, Signal Fire
And Mr.
Media.
Carter.
And to all our listeners, please subscribe and follow us. We would appreciate it so much. We believe wellness starts within, and unlocking unlimited possibilities with energetic healing is just the way to be. So embrace the woo, dabble, dive, or discover your next healing experience on the SoulShape app. All links available in the show notes, and we hope you've enjoyed this soulful stretch and conversation. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, LJ and Leslie. This was beautiful.
Yes, thank you, Jen.
Bye.
Bye.